Hey, Gator Nation, welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast. It's Tennessee Hate Week, guys. Got a lot to talk about tonight. As always, I'm your boy Hirsch, and with me, my two awesome co-hosts, CJ the Man McCann.
What's up, guys?
And the hype man, Wes.
What's good, Gator Nation?
Yes, sir, guys. Tennessee Hate Week. You know what it is. You know what it's like. Got a lot to talk about tonight as far as Tennessee goes, but we're going to get to them in a minute. We're going to jump into a little, recruiting stuff first. Talk about some commits coming to visit, some other prospects visiting, a decommit. Got a lot to talk about on this episode, guys. But as always, make sure you go out, download us wherever you get your podcast from. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, this is your first time checking us out, do us a favor, guys. Helps us out tremendously. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video. Leave us a comment down below. Leave us in the comments your score prediction for Florida versus Tennessee in the Swamp this weekend, 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Got to be there, man. Got to check it out. All right, guys, let's jump right on into it, man. As always, though, I want to start off. We're going to recognize a couple of our commitments in the way that they played last week in their high school games. And we're going to start right off the rip. We're not going to start with Big DJ. We're going to get to him second because our man, Kanan Daniels, running back one, we talked about the big week he had the week before last. Well, he said, you know what? That ain't nothing. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to top that. I'm going to go out and have 38 carries for 427 yards and 7 touchdowns. Guys, this man is insane. I mean, these are video game, on easy numbers. This is like we're playing – that's your creative player on NCAA next year. Hitting it. I've never like we talked about Kanan before. He's kind of runs in a very weird, gimmicky kind of offense. Like they run a lot of wildcat, and the ball is primarily in his hands almost every play. He even throws some passes in the game, but I mean, this is a guy that you're hoping maybe by the time he gets to camp, he don't have too much wear on the tires because he is eating it up down there at the high school level in Mississippi. Now, Mr. DJ Lagway, he fresh off his visit last weekend, he was in the Swamp to watch us play, McNeese, and he goes right back to Texas, goes 25 for 32 for 339 yards and 5 touchdowns as Willis, Texas held on to beat the team that they played this week. That was the team that had really beat them down last year. So this was a revenge game for DJ, and he went out and did what superstars do, shined, put it on them. And the third guy I want to spotlight from last weekend, Dre Hawkins, 3 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown as IMG laid another beat down. I believe I haven't seen his stats from this recent game, but they had a game called off at halftime here, I believe. Was it yesterday or something like that? They were winning 99-0 at halftime.
Yeah, they beat the team. I think they did this last year to the same team from Canada. I think people ask all the time. It's like, what is IMG doing scheduling these opponents? And if you watch like the Bishop Sycamore documentary on HBO, IMG's hurting for people to play. Like people don't want to play them, so they're just taking whoever they can get. This isn't like they're intentionally seeking these guys out. This is who wants to play them. But yeah, I think they've done this 2
not
years
out there
in a row.
Seeking out McNeese State to play every game.
No.
When you have the factory, is the way I'll put it, that IMG has, it's hard to find schools lined up just to want to take that L, and yes, they play some more difficult schools and they play some games where they have, obviously competition, but generally not at the beginning of the season. They don't. So, hopefully our young man there gets enough reps this season. They keep playing like that. He's not even going to be on the field enough. But really shows off what he can do. He had a great looking little 60-yard catch and score. Just he's super quick. He runs past everybody on the field. So those just some of the highlights from last week, man. We keep up with these kids every week. on our under the lights thread that we run on our Twitter page. Guys are out there doing it, man, and proving why Billy and the company went after these kids and are looking to make them Gators. DJ Lagway, like we said, continuing to have an outstanding season, already up to 14 touchdown passes on the year, and just looking to do more and more incredible things. Already got a monkey off his back by beating the team that beat them last year. So looking forward to seeing what he does the rest of the season, as well as Kanan Daniels putting up numbers like that. He's almost at 1,000 yards rushing on the season after 3 games. That's ridiculous. Let's talk about a little bit of bad news. Had a surprising decommitment this week from Micah Boreau, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Never want to see a kid decommit. Never want that to happen. You especially don't want it to happen at the defensive tackle position, as we have covered many times on this show. That is a spot on this roster that continues to kind of elude us in the recruiting game. Thought we had us one here. We lose him. Looks like he's going to end up at Georgia, who he originally committed to us over. Georgia kept the pressure on. You might want to say they doubled their efforts in code there for you know what it is. So hey, you just keep on recruiting, man. You're on to the next one. That's all you can do in this kind of situation. It frees up a scholarship possibly to sign another guy, maybe at a position of need. Maybe you can take a second running back. Maybe you can add another wide receiver. Maybe you go back looking for another defensive tackle. Maybe you try to sign a 4 or 5 star offensive lineman. I'm just saying, there are possibilities here. Guys, your thoughts, CJ, on Micah Burrow's decommitment and what it means for the Gators class?
I'm disappointed by it for sure, because I really liked the prospect. That big of a kid getting into play that nose tackle spot, where we have kind of struggled at getting kids that are the ideal body type to even play that position. And this was a guy that was perfect. He could, he was big enough to really just jam up the whole middle of the line there, kind of like what Desmond Watson does. It's disappointing. It's not a class killer. I mean, if you really put a lot of stock into stars and rankings, he was only ranked as a composite 3-star. Considering he's a nose tackle, though, he wasn't ever going to get any kind of love because he's not a kid that probably camps much, if at all. He's not a kid who's going to wow you with the stat sheet, because he's just kind of in the middle eating up, blocks, which is what his job is. So it's disappointing and it stinks, but you always have to be prepared in recruiting. You're going to have a few kids decommit, and you're going to have a few kids flip to you. And that's just kind of the way it goes every year. When everybody talks about, there's not going to be this wave of decommitments that whatever, rival fan bases might want to tell you, but everybody's going to get decommits. Georgia has decommits, Alabama, Florida State. We've been on the positive side of some of that, and we've been on the negative side of some of that. So, yeah, I mean, it stinks. You don't ever want to lose a kid, especially at a spot where you really think you could use his help, but there's still plenty of time left to go out and find somebody else, or now you've opened up a spot in your class to potentially add some more depth at another position. So you've got to make a positive out of the negative here.
Absolutely. Wes, any takes on this?
Yeah, I mean, CJ alluded to some of the points I wanted to say about as far as his ranking. I know people are like, well, our class average actually went up higher. This is a kid that's not going to be ranked that high because of the position he plays. He has a job, and that's to tie up the center and guard combination, take on double teams. Go ahead, Hirsch.
We'll see how high he's gonna be ranked now for sure, though.
Yeah, that is.
Let's let him commit to UGA and see how quick that ranking rises. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll bring that back up, I'm sure, at some other point.
Yeah, I do agree with that point. But we've harped on how we've needed the nose tackle position, not just defensive tackle, but the nose tackle position in specific for that particular reason. We call we let Coach Armstrong and his defense and what he runs, and he needs that type of guy in his defense because he wants to stop the run. And that's a guy that is going to clog up lanes, clog up holes, the A gap, B gap, whatever he may be called on put that specific play to play and do it. And we've had to go in the portal to get these type of guys to fill in. And we thought we had somebody that maybe not next year, but a year or two from now that would have been able to solidify that spot for a couple of years for us and do it very, very well. We watched his tape. We saw what he did on film. We saw what he did at some camps, and he looked like a big athletic beast. And this hurts. I'm not one to say it's over. I'm not going to give up on his stats and say, I know that he's trending towards going towards Georgia. But until signing day, I'm going to believe from what the stats have shown me this year, from what we heard about why he decommitted, I don't want to say it's over. I'm not going to say we're going to stop recruiting this kid. So until signing day, I'm going to still hold out hope that hopefully, because maybe just because I want him so bad too, that I'm holding out hope for Chaos and the crew to try to get him back in the fold. So we'll wait and see what happens by time signing day. So even though he's trending towards Georgia, I don't want to say it's over. We all three of us heard the rumor particularly why this might have happened. We leave that at that. But until it's over, I'm not, because I want him. And it goes back to people saying, well, we just talked about his ranking. So don't get at the rank like, oh, well, he just nose guard. No, this is a specific need that this team needs to be able to stop the run. And he's a special type of player that you can't just find off the street to do what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, that leaves Nasir Johnson really as your only defensive tackle in this class. So it's very much still a need. If you don't get one in the class, obviously you're dipping back into the portal in the offseason in hopes of finding somebody that's a plug-and-play nose tackle for this defense once again. And that's fine. You can certainly make a living there. We've shown it right now. You got Caleb Banks out there playing. You know, these guys are getting the job done. But ideally, you want a guy that you can recruit and develop in that room as well to provide some quality depth. So hopefully they're able to target a guy, get a guy in here. If not, once again, you're dipping into the portal, and we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, let's talk some visits, man. Big weekend, big game. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks, that Tennessee was going to be a big recruiting weekend, and the stars are lining up, man. Lots of guys coming to town. First, we'll talk about 2024 kids. Got a lot of those coming. A lot of the commitments are going to be here. Not all of them. Obviously, you know, a lot of these kids might have Saturday games and won't be able to make it for a Saturday kickoff at 7 o'clock. It is what it is. I mean, but of note, kids that'll be there. DJ Lagway, commitment. Wardell Mack out of Louisiana will be there. Jamonta Waller out of Mississippi will be there. Fletcher Westfall, offensive lineman, our biggest offensive line commitment, going to be there. Dre Hawkins, previously mentioned, Teddy Foster. And I'm missing Mike Williams will be there as well, offensive tackle commitment. So you're going to have a good bit, and there'll probably be some more added to this list, guys. We're right there where names can be added or subtracted at the last minute, obviously. Sometimes it's just a matter of these kids working out transportation to get to the game. Like it can be something very simple as, hey, I'm still looking for a ride. You know, their mom or dad might have to work and they just may not be able to make it. So we'll see how that shakes out. Now let's talk about uncommitted kids that are, as of now, expected to show. The two biggest, LJ McCray and Zay Mincy from Mainland. We've talked about them several times. These are the two biggest targets from the perspective of you need to land left on the board. We've been after these guys since day one. LJ McCray is right now the biggest defensive line target we have left. Zay Mincy would be our biggest target in the secondary we have left. We've been after these guys. It's a fight with Miami for both. UGA is heavily involved with LJ McCray. The staff still feels very good on that young man. Zay Mincy, it's coin flip. You're gonna have to knock it out of the park. You're gonna have to get Coach Raymond on this kid and let him do his work. Hopefully he gets around the other recruits and, some good things happen. A few other names. Favor Edwin is an offensive tackle out of McDonough, Georgia, my neck of the woods where I'm from up there. Big kid who's kind of being a late riser in recruiting. He hasn't played football very long, shooting up the recruiting boards. And a defensive lineman, Martrice Dillard out of Buford, Georgia, is also visiting. I believe he's a defensive tackle that we are actually just now really getting in on. And one other prospect I forgot about from Georgia, from my neck of the woods where I live now, is Cam McKell is a 4-star wide receiver out of Statesboro, Georgia. I'm not really getting my hopes up for that one from what I've heard living close to him. I think we're kind of fighting to try to get into this recruitment, but there's a few other teams higher. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. The best thing is you get him on campus, you get in his ear, and hopefully good things happen. Wes, what are your thoughts on the group of 2024 kids coming in?
Quick question. Is it unofficial visits for McCray and Mincy?
Yes. They've already taken officials. I'm pretty sure. And of note, the staff has made it that they don't want official visits during the season.
Yeah, I just want I wanted our fans to make sure that they're aware of what's going on with that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you and that's good to note because obviously it changes the dynamics of the visit a little bit.
Yeah. Out of that, the names you named, whether committed or uncommitted, we all know the big guys on the board, McCray and Mincy, and we all want McCray and we all want Mincy. There's nothing to sugarcoat about it. If we thought we led from Mincy, we've chronicled this on our podcast about Mincy. Thought we had that kind of in the bag, and now it's kind of 50-50. We're fighting some other teams for him. Same thing with McCray with Georgia. I really, really want these two. I hope the environment is one. It's going to be a Friday night game, which is kind of cool. With the lights, and it's going to be packed because it's Tennessee. So this is a good game for them to come for. As far as the type of environment they're going to get, it's not 12 p.m. game where how our fans come late, or even a hot 3:30 game. It could be hot in Gainesville at 7, but it's more like getting cool throughout the night. And it's just hopefully that we put on a good show for them. And as far as the environment, I'm sure coaches are going to be doing what they need to do as far as Coach Raymond on him and Chaos on McCray. So those are the guys that I want in this class. They're not regular guys. Mincy is a very, very elite talent, and so is McCray. McCray is, more I've started watching him, he's trending like special type of guy. So not just a good guy to pick up just for rankings, but he has a lot of talent just like his teammates. So I'm hoping that we can get these two guys in the class to boost that class rankings. For me, guys already know I wanted that top 5 class. So that'll help me move more and more closer to my goal that I prophetically spoke before we started this season.
CJ, any takes on the 24 visitors?
No, just more or less. We saw this recruiting visit kind of strategy take place last year with our big home game against LSU. Obviously, this is kind of what we're going for again. Even in the loss against LSU last year, it was received really well. The environment's going to be great. The place is going to be packed. This is kind of what you want. You get these kids here, you get them invested. Hopefully you come out of this with a win this time. I think that would help out a lot as far as the mood goes. Because a lot of this stuff is emotionally driven for these kids. These kids, can make emotional decisions based on what they see. You get in there, you get the place rocking, you get a big win, you got the fans out there. You can really kind of sway some of the kids' opinion on you based on stuff like that. So just get it done. Again, where we're sitting right now, I have no reason to doubt the staff. I have no reason to doubt their recruiting effort. They've done so well this cycle so far that I'm very confident in what they're trying to do, and I'm confident in their strategy and what they're doing right now.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what you got to do, man. Get this hyped up environment. Still early in the season. The fans are absolutely going to be into it. But let's talk about some of these 2025 prospects that are visiting, because this is where you really start to take that jump on this next class. And you've got a huge group. And I'm not going to name every single one of them that's coming, but we're going to highlight some of the biggest names. Starting with DJ Pickett, 5-star safety defensive back out of Zephyr Hills down there close to Tampa. So obviously he's a huge one that you've been after, and this will be one of just, I mean, we're up to 4 or 5 visits to campus already at this point. So that's your headlining guy right there, but there's a lot more. I mean, 4-star running back Waltez Clark out of Tampa. He plays at Plant. He's probably the number 1 running back target right now. He had a great visit a month or so ago. Said Florida was super high on his list. This could be a kid that could possibly be the first commit of this class. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's very high up there right now of the most likely guys to end up in this class. Let's talk about some quarterbacks. Ryan Montgomery's coming down from Ohio with his father. Obviously, he's very high on the quarterback list. Antoine Hill is coming. If you don't know who Antoine Hill is out of Warner Robins, Georgia, I suggest you go do a little research on him, because this young man is the truth. You see CJ shaking your head if you're watching on YouTube. This kid put up 40-plus touchdowns, I believe, last year against high-quality competition in the state of Georgia. This is a young man that lots of schools are going to be knocking on his door, so it's great to get this visit for such a high-impact game. I believe Florida State's, Tramel Jones, the Florida State quarterback commitment out of Mandarin, is also coming for a visit. So there's 3 high-profile quarterbacks right there visiting. TJ Alford, linebacker, will be visiting. Just Vernell Brown III will be visiting, corner athlete out of Orlando. Javon Boggs is a 3-star wide receiver. He's a guy that I think is criminally underrated. If you didn't see a couple weeks ago, he lit Charles Lester up in a game. Charles Lester being the 5-star defensive back committed to Florida State. He absolutely lit Lester up. So that's a young man to keep an eye on. Let's see. I missed Dallas Wilson, big-time wide receiver, already committed to Oregon, is going to be visiting out of Tampa. I mean, there's just, this list is insane of all the visitors that are coming.
Jet White.
Safety Dallas Golden out of Tampa. I mean, lots of Tampa kids coming for this visit.
Just get some.
Billy said, we go get some of these kids out of Tampa, damn it.
4-star defensive lineman Myron Charles out of Port Charlotte. Another running back, I can't say that young man's name, and I apologize because I have not practiced. Wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver Cortez Miller out of Homestead. I mean, just 4-star after 4-star. 4-star safety Hilton Stubbs. He's out of Jacksonville. That's a young man we've been recruiting heavily. I know Florida State is recruiting him heavily as well. 4-star quarterback Jet White. You already mentioned Jet White out of Miami. I'm just on and on. Defensive lineman Malik Autry, who's committed to Auburn. He's already made a couple of visits to visit Florida as well. So as you can see, guys, and this is a list that's going to grow in the next couple of days as well. Like, these are just guys that have confirmed as of now with various outlets. That list is going to grow and grow, and you're going to have more and more big names added to it. That is why it is so important for this game, not only to create a great atmosphere, but as CJ mentioned, this is a game that you really would like to get a victory in for so many reasons. And we're going to go into that deeper here in a second. But because of having all these recruits here, you've set yourself up for absolutely what could be a monumental weekend if you can take care of business on the field. Guys, any other thoughts before we move on from these recruits about these 2025 kids? CJ, you have any thoughts on these guys?
No, just make a great impression. It's a long way down the road, but this could be a great step forward with a lot of the kids as we've seen. I don't have a number, but a lot of the kids that we have in this class were visiting as 2025 kids last year. So, you want to make that impression now, and I think it gets you ahead of the curve going into next year's cycle. So, this is very important because you want to continue this recruiting success. Having a third ranked class in the country is awesome, but if you turn around and you go back to mid teens, recruiting, it really doesn't help you at all. You can't just have one really great class and then go back in the middle of the road. And, you need to have a consistently firmly within that top 6-7 range of recruiting classes for some long-term success here in the future. So definitely important that we get ahead of the curve on a lot of these kids in 2025.
What, Wes? Any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, just the impact of also having your 24 class almost solidified and tied up, that you can really focus on these 25 kids because you basically got everybody in. Not that you don't stop recruiting kid after you got them, as far as our 24 kids that are visiting, but you got a lot of these highly ranked 25 kids in. You got a big enough staff, and the thing I like about our staff is they know these kids personally. It's not like when I say personal, what I mean like, what's your name? They don't do that. Like they know these kids, parents. They're heavily involved, and that's where that support staff. As far as we haven't mentioned the word Army in a while, but that's where they come in and they're so personable with these kids that make them feel welcome. So let's just hope we don't have a boring game Saturday night that is live and exciting for these kids where they're not yawning like I was a few minutes ago.
All right, guys. Let's move on from recruiting and let's jump in and talk about this game for a minute. And before we do, we want to talk about, obviously we had a young man enter the transfer, put his name into the transfer portal earlier this week. Jadarius Perkins announced, I believe it was Tuesday it was at Monday that he was going to go ahead and put his name into the transfer portal. Obviously we wish the young man well in his future. Just a case of the writing was on the wall, man. He wasn't getting the reps that he wanted, and it was just best for him to go ahead and move on down the road to another opportunity. So, best of luck to that young man. Never wish ill will on him. Hope he finds a spot where he's able to further his education and his career. So best of luck to him. Recently just dropped the depth chart for the Tennessee week, just dropped. And the biggest news, obviously, on that depth chart, Billy already alluded to it on Monday, is that Kingsley is a go. Not even listed on the injury report. They let that ankle heal up. They set him out, and now he is ready to go. And in looking at the depth chart, there's really not much to note other than the only out on offense is Tony Livingston is out. And Jamarcus Weston is out on defense, and that is it. That is your injury report. So the best thing going is the Gators look to be very healthy going into this game. I believe they were able to sit some guys last week, like we alluded to in our Raw Reaction episode. Let those guys heal up. You didn't need, if your wide receiver's a little banged up, got some bumps and bruises, no need to play in that game. And most of the starters were out by the time the second half rolled around. So now you're seeing the benefits of that. You've got a fresh team rolling into this huge matchup with Tennessee on Saturday night. Now, guys, I'm going to start off with this. There's a lot of stuff out there saying that this is a must-win game for Billy Napier and company. And I'm not a big fan of the term must-win. But it's a pretty important game when you look at the landscape of things. Billy can get a lot of people off his back if he's able to get this victory on Saturday night. CJ, in your mind, is this a must-win game?
No. no. I've been seeing that all week. Like this will be the determining factor in Billy Napier's tenure if he can't beat Tennessee and what have you. It's not a must win. I would really like to win this game, but it's not a must win. That's kind of ridiculous when it's been pointed out by multiple people, the people that matter, the people with the money, that he ain't going anywhere. You know, not in the immediate future. You definitely need to win this game. This would help a lot with a lot of different things. If it's just getting people off your ass, um, you know, I mean, I mean, in all honesty, that's it. That's what this game would do the most of. If you get a lot of people off your back, if you could win this game. I mean, personally, Billy wants to win this game. He talked about how much this game meant to him personally last year when we played Tennessee. He's originally from Tennessee. He was born in Tennessee, then moved to Georgia. But he's got a lot of family in Tennessee. This is kind of a game that's like a homecoming for him when he plays them. This is a game that means a lot to him. You know, we came, pretty close to beating them last year. We had a, semi-mediocre defense. We probably could have beaten them last year, even with that great of a team they had. We were a few stops on defense from doing it, even till the end. So, you got it's a game that you need to win, but it's not a must-win game. It would go far for him in his tenure at this point for the win, but it's not going to decide whether he's here or not.
Wes, do you agree that it's a must-win game?
It depends on what must-win means. As far as Billy keeping his job, no, I agree with you guys on that. But just to play devil's advocate and switch sides, but because I don't agree with that narrative that he has to win to keep his job. Hell no, that's not true. But what it is, did we beat Tennessee last year? No. Did we beat Georgia last year? No. Did we beat LSU last year? No. Did we beat Florida State last year? No. Can't lose to rivals like that. Can't go 0 for 4 for rivals, and this would be 0 and 5 against rivals. So in that sense, I say it's a must win because you can't do that. That's something Urban Meyer preach. That's something Spur preach. Own your rivals. You got to own rivals. You got to own them. You got to win. You can't go. I don't want to say you can't go because if we lose, then you're going to go 0 and 5 against your rivals. And then you got, I think, Georgia before Georgia, then LSU, then Florida State. So then you're looking at 0 and 6 because of who we think Georgia may be. So, yeah, in that sense, to me, it's a must-win. Got to get this first victory against a rival team because we were 0-4 last year. So you put yourself in this position, in that state, in that mind, in my mind, that makes this a must-win because you got to get your first win versus rival. So that's how I feel.
I agree with that 100%. You've got to get a rival win. You've got to quiet these doubters just, for your team's sake. So there's less of a storm around it, and you start putting doubt. These kids read what's out there. They read Twitter. They read reactions, not only of fans, but these media members. And it doesn't help when you have clowns like, and I'm going to say it, Dan Mullen out there saying that Billy's on the hot seat because he recruited some of these guys that are in that locker room.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but that's clown behavior. Saying stuff like that. That's like the bitter ex-wife down the road, making up rumors because she's mad that you're happy now. Take that ish onward, man. We don't, but that's a whole nother story. We clown Dan Mullen enough on here. He clowns himself. But yes, I agree from the fact that you've got to get the monkey of can't beat a rival off of your back.
And I didn't even include, which we don't consider them a rival. They consider us their rival as far as football is concerned. But I didn't include Kentucky in that, and we lost to them last year. So that could easily be 0-5 if you're a fan that considers them a rival. I don't. When you beat somebody 20 times or so in a row, there's no rivalry there.
And Tennessee hasn't won in the swamp in like 20 years.
Yeah, so I don't consider them a rival. But I was just saying some people do consider them a rival because of basketball as well. So, but I don't.
So you got a lot of things kind of on the line with this game. So I know there's got to be a certain amount of pressure. Now, Billy's not going to admit to that. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, there's a lot of pressure with this game. But this is one of those situations where silently, and we know Billy's not one of these guys that's going to come out. He's not going to do the Spurrier thing. He's not even going to do the Urban thing and do that trash talking. But you got to know he's telling his coaches in the back, guys, I'd really like to win this game. Hey, Coach Armstrong, let's dial it up. And let's talk about why he needs to dial it up. This ain't Hendon Hooker coming out of that tunnel. All right? And I'm not saying that Joe Milton is some bad quarterback, but we know what Joe Milton is. He's been in school for 8 years. I mean, we've seen what he brings to the table.
Him and Hooker are about the same age, but go ahead.
You're right. I mean, they both are like, they've been drinking for 4 years and stuff.
We saw, to put it in perspective, we saw Joe Milton in the Peach Bowl in 2018.
Yeah,
that's how long did that man?
He was overthrowing passes then. He's overthrowing passes now. Now, let's talk about what Tennessee does bring to the table. They average over 6 yards per carry rushing the football. So this isn't the Tennessee that we played last year. They are winning games by playing much better defense than they have in the past and running the ball on the ground. Now, Joe Milton adds a little bit to that rushing attack. Obviously, he's a mobile quarterback. But they only have like 2 passes over 20-plus yards on the season. So that, to me, brings up what the game plan of this game honestly should be. And that is sell out to stop the run. Make Joe Milton beat you. Now, we've seen this defense the last couple of weeks. They can absolutely do what it takes to stop the run. They absolutely are doing a great job tackling that we have not seen in the last couple of seasons. But this is going to be a big test, man. It's supposed to rain Saturday in Gainesville. There's like a 50-plus percent chance of rain. Could get real muggy. You know how it is in Gainesville. It's not supposed to be quite as hot, but you know how it is. It rains, it gets muggy. So this is our house, man. It sets up perfectly for us. The line right now, 6.5, favoring Tennessee, if you believe in those kind of things. The total points on this game is like 49 or something like that, or even higher than that. It's ridiculous. I don't think it's going to be that high of a scoring game, to be very honest with you. CJ, in your estimation, what is the best way for the Gators? Obviously score more points, but what is the best way for the Gators to pull off this win?
Looking at the Tennessee offense, you lose a couple of, you lose Jalen Hyatt, which is a massive downfield target. They don't have him in the repertoire anymore. Graham Mertz and Joe Milton are pretty well in a dead heat with passing yards. It's almost, I think Joe might have 20 more than Graham, which if you'd have told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd have called you a liar. I wouldn't expect that. But I think you're looking at 2 teams that are going to be very similar in the way they want to attack. I think they're going to both kind of be more run-first teams. They're going to want to run the football. With the way our secondary is, as young as they are, I would almost rather Tennessee try to beat us by running the football. I feel like we're better up front than we are in the secondary, and that's no slight against the guys in the secondary. I just think they're young. So if you can make them, have to try to throw that football to beat you and get consistent pressure on Joe Milton, I think that sets you up well for how to attack Tennessee. And on offense, the time of possession, I think, is a major factor in this game. I think if Florida can control the ball on offense and have these big, long, sustained drives and just keep that Tennessee offense on the sideline as much as they can, I think it'll benefit them a lot. I think that's the main thing. You cannot be, you don't want to get in a track meet with these guys, because, Josh Heupel is going to dial something up. And, that's not the kind of game you want. We saw it last year. how it wasn't favorable for us to get into track meet with Tennessee. We didn't end up winning that. I think the main thing is you need to be able to control the time of possession. You need to keep Tennessee's offense off the field. You need to have consistent drives. You need to finish drives in the end zone, or at least getting 3 points on a field goal. You cannot get in the red zone and just stall. You have to finish drives. You can't leave points on the board against teams like Tennessee. So those are the main things you're going to have to do. Um, and I'm curious to see what Tennessee's game plan is. Josh Heupel is the kind of guy that once you think he's going right, he might go left. So I'm sure they've game plan for that. But if they are running the ball, they're wanting to run first. You really need to shut that down up front, and then make sure you get great pressure on Milton, and make sure that he can't beat you throwing the football. You also want to make sure you contain him. We've done a bad job over the years in containing quarterbacks to the pocket. You don't want the side of contain to break down. So then you've got everybody covered up downfield. You get pressure, you miss a tackle, guy skirts off to the left or to the right, and by the end of it, he's got 15 yards on you because you've got everybody downfield. You've got to be able to contain. You've got to keep everybody in the flat to make sure that guy just can't run outside and end up beating you when you've done a great job in the secondary. So there's a lot of things that's going to go into this, but you're going to have to control the game on offense. I think gives you the best chance to win. Is just holding on to that ball as long as you can, having 6, 7, 8 minute drives, just long sustained drives. Keep their offense on the sideline as much as you can.
Wes, what are your keys for a Gators victory?
Yeah, I know you were speaking about their defense, but I'm looking at who they played. Denver, they played Virginia, who's a garbage team, and I think they lost to Old Dominion this past week. And then they played a lower level team. CJ kind of alluded to my point. I'm gonna speak offensively first. As far as finishing drives, I rewatched the game last year, and that was a problem area for us all year. It seemed like is when we get inside the 20, we couldn't score. 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 1. I don't want any field goals. I don't want the kicker trotting out there. I want us to go for it each time. If we inside the 30, I want to go for it. To me, that's the key. And I think this is why I was so happy with last week as far as us running the ball, those offensive linemen getting those reps, because I want to see us punish Tennessee this week running the ball offensively and let Mertz, Dink, and Doug get the ball to Wilson in those little screen things that we do. Get the ball to Ricky, let them get first downs on third and manageable. We stay in third and manageable, that I feel really, really good about us offensively in this game. We have to be efficient, and we have to finish drives, and I don't want to be behind the sticks at all. Kingsley coming back is a major plus for us in this game, calling out assignments, and us being at home. Defensively, we've all raved about James and Williams. If Tennessee is going to run the ball, we're about to see if what we've chronicled about James and Williams at linebacker, if it's true. We love up front, but they're going to have to fit those holes. They're going to fit those gaps and make plays, and I want to see those guys do it. I believe they can do it because they are so freaking fast and so freaking violent, especially Scooby. Scooby's violent. Shamar is just Shamar. He's just athletic, sideline to sideline, making plays, making tackles, and I love what I see from him. So if they're going to run the ball, I want to see what our two backers do in this game. And we have to, my other key is, what we haven't done in the first 2 games, turnovers. Yeah. Let's get some freaking turnovers. Those high errant passes that you were just chronicling about, CJ, I want turnovers. I want those picks. I want us to come down with these balls. I love what Paul's. Where Devin Moore did it. He ran that route. He ran the route for the receiver against Utah. I want us to come down with those. Or if it's tipped in the air, somebody got to be diving to get that. I want us to have pause again. I want us to have with the balls in the air. I want us to go get those balls. Pause. But I just need us to create some turnovers. You create turnovers. It's going to be raucous in the swamp. You get the crowd into it. We smash them more. I don't care about the offense being boring. As far as we smashing the ball, we running, we getting 4 or 5 yards a clip. not to the extent. I know we're not going to do what we did last week. I think those guys were getting like 7 yards of carry, 6 yards of carry, 5 yards of carry. That's not going to happen for all three backs. But if we can run the ball and stay in a good third down, then I feel good. But as far as the defense is concerned and their running game, because they're not the same team from last year, I want to see Shamar and Scooby. Shamar and Scooby are my keys to as far as defense, and I want to see some turnovers. I want at least 2 turnovers this game because he is errant. And we get pressure on him. I want to see if we blitz how Armstrong does with blitzing this week as well to see if we can make Milton uncomfortable and throw those errant passes too. So, but I can't wait for this game, man. And if you ask me if we can switch like we did last year, we lost Tennessee, beat Utah, I'll go for this. For the rival thing that I spoke about earlier, we lost Utah, we can beat Tennessee. I feel good. I feel
Absolutely.
really, really good.
I'll take that trade off 10 out of 10 times.
Exactly.
I only have a few points. I'm gonna keep this real short. You guys have really hit on some really good things. One, offensively, run the damn ball. We've said it. We've said it. If we can run the ball, and it's not that I don't have the faith in Graham Mertz. I think he's played very well as a quarterback so far. But I don't want him to have to be throwing for his life late in the game. I want him to be handing it off. I want him to be able to hand it off as many times this game as we can. Just turn it around, hand it off 4, 5, 6 yards. Let's keep the ball moving. Throw in a dink and dunk. Get Trey Wilson involved somehow. Some plays to Ricky. The old tight end drag. Just keep it simple, man. But keep the ball moving and keep it out of their hands. Defensively, I already said my thing is sell out to stop the run, but I think our safeties are going to be very important in this game. This is going to be the game that we really see if these young guys at safety can do the thing, because they're going to have to step up and make plays in the box, and they're going to have to watch over the top too. I believe you're going to see a lot of man defense from the corners. I believe you're going to have Marshall out there on his island. Moore is going to have his man, or Kimber, whoever's on the other side, is going to have their man. And we're going to force Joe Milton to try to win this ball game. And, Joe Milton says he doesn't lose games in Florida, but we done seen it happen. So, thanks for those wise words of wisdom, Joe Milton. You really nailed it there. Once again, though, sell out. Get the box. Let these linebackers do their thing. Let these guys on the line do their thing. Keep this running game under 5 yards of carry. Hell, keep it under 4 yards of carry. If you keep them under 4 yards of carry, I have a feeling we win this football game and pretty easily. But it's Florida, Tennessee. Probably ain't going to be an easy game. Now, that being said, CJ, what's your score prediction for this ball game?
I'll say us 28-24.
Wes.
CJ took my score, so I'm going to go us 28-20 Florida.
I had it written down before any of y'all said anything. I had 27-24 on the paper from this afternoon. I've had that 27 for Florida stuck in my head, probably because we'll miss an extra point. But
probably right.
I mean, are we missing an extra point and kick 2 field goals? That'll be ridiculous. It'll be something weird. It's Florida, Tennessee, guys. If something weird can happen, that shit's gonna happen. You know it. I hope we're not having any kind of having to make some crazy throw in the last minutes of the game, because I don't trust that as much as I did in years past. So, all right, guys, that's it. Let Saturday come, man, because I'm ready for this game. I'm ready to see how we stack up, and hopefully the Gators are coming out 2-1 with that first victory in the SEC and that rival victory. All right, fellas, it's that time of the week. Once again, weekly Pick Ems. Oh, man. Hirsch had a good week last week, fellas. Woo-wee. Hirsch went 8-2 on the week. CJ and Wes 7-3 on the week. That puts Hirsch 14-6, CJ 13-7, and Wes 12-8 on the year so far after 2 weeks.
Damn Tulane.
That damn Tulane.
Damn Tulane.
That damn Platt holding out on you.
Yeah, messed me up, man. I was like, damn, if I knew you weren't gonna play, I wouldn't have picked Tulane.
All right, boys. Let's jump right into it, man. We don't have the hottest slate of games this week. Obviously, there is no Texas Bama really this week. I mean, it's just kind of an ugly slate of average looking little games out there. But we got 10. What?
Which one of y'all picked Texas last week?
Nobody picked Texas last week. We all picked Bama.
Oh, that was CJ picking Texas A&M. My bad. He picked Texas. I mean Miami. He picked
I
Miami.
picked Miami. I got that one right.
He loves picking these damn in-state rivals. And getting wins
I'm telling
you.
If
he's the only one that's got the guts to do it. I tell you what. All right, guys, let's start right now at the SIP. Georgia Tech heading out to play Ole Miss and those whatever their mascot is this week.
The Bears, the Sharks.
Sure, the Land Sharks. I don't know what they are. Wes, who you got?
Ole Miss.
Okay. CJ?
Hurts my heart, but I got to pick Ole Miss. Georgia Tech already let me down once.
That's what I was going to say. I'd love to pick Tech. I'd really like to. But if you can't hold on versus Louisville, I don't trust you on the road at Ole Miss. All right. Another SEC slated game, Kansas State at Mizzou. CJ.
Give me K-State. Missouri looked really bad last week.
Wes?
Same K-State. Them Wildcats.
Yeah, I'm going with K-State too. I ain't picking that damn Drinkowitz in nothing. I won't pick that sumbitch in nothing. Except looking like a dork.
So bad.
All right. Oh, man. Washington State at the Fighting Male Tuckers. Oh. Washington at Michigan State. Wes, who you got?
It's Washington State, right?
I meant Washington, not Washington
Huskies.
State. I was thinking Michigan State before I spoke.
Yeah. I'm going with the Huskies. They got a lot of stuff going down there in East Lansing.
Yeah, no doubt. CJ?
I can already hear the fat lady singing. Washington's going to win this thing by a lot. There just ain't no way they're ready to play this game.
Yeah, I don't see any way, shape, or form that the Fighting Male Tuckers get hyped up for this one.
The Tuck coming.
Whoa, easy. All right, back to the SEC country. BYU visits Arkansas. CJ, who you got?
We pick. Give me the Razorbacks.
Wes?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the home team at SEC environment.
Yeah, man. KJ's having a good season, man. I ain't looking forward to them boys coming down to the swamp later in the year.
Different. Right? They did look different week 2 than from week 1.
We're gonna be good to go. We got the black uniforms on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Arkansas for me as well on that one. All right. Pittsburgh at West Virginia. Wes?
West Virginia.
Ooh. CJ?
Let me Pitt.
Yeah, I'm going with Pitt myself on
Backyard brawl, baby.
I don't care about West Virginia. They ain't the same as they used to be up there.
Yeah, Rich Rod ain't up there no more.
The Golden Gophers of Minnesota visiting Chapel Hill at UNC. CJ.
Give me the Tar Heels. They let me down last time. I'll take them this time.
Wes?
Minnesota did it to me last time against Nebraska. That defense is real. North Carolina kind of struggled with App State last week. But I'm going to say Drake May finds his footing. I think he does. Minnesota couldn't score against Nebraska. Nebraska defense looked good against Colorado too. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Tar Heels. Because that
was a lot of analysis to come
up with.
You
figured it out.
And who they play? Minnesota.
The Gophers, baby.
Yeah. Nah.
Man, there's a part of me that really wants to pick Minnesota, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not falling into that trap. UNC, baby. All right. Louisville at the Hoosiers of Indiana. Wes?
Louisville.
CJ.
Oh man. You know what? Give me the Hoosiers. I'll take the Hoosiers. Why not?
Oh, okay.
Give me the Hoosiers. They got Bob Knight out there. They're ready to go.
Is Bob Knight still alive?
I don't know. The spirit of Bob Knight lives on.
I thought he was coming to the game, but you had me thinking he was coming to the game.
You'll
I don't even know, man.
You'll know he's there if you see a
chair go flying. I don't know. Maybe
you throw it across the field.
Well, that just might mean that there's a riverboat fight nearby. That don't mean
that too.
Oh yeah. I'm on the Louisville hype train. I said it week 1. I thought Louisville was an underrated team this year. Give me Louisville. All right, this one there ought to be some points scored in this game. TCU at Houston. CJ?
Give me the Cougars. I'll take the Cougars. I'll take the Cougars against TCU. I was not impressed with what I've seen from TCU here in the early season.
Wes?
Yeah, I'm going to Cougars as well.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Horned Frogs, baby. Horn Dogs.
The Horn Dogs.
I told you, man. I have this thing about picking against TCU. I think Colorado was a one-off. I got a little more faith in them than that. All right. LSU at Mississippi State. Wes, who you think?
LSU.
CJ? LSU's look pretty. I mean, Mississippi State's looked pretty good for 2 weeks.
Give me them Cowbells. Give me the Bulldogs. Mississippi State. I'm gonna ride with them. I don't care how many damn points LSU put up on freaking Grambling.
Whew, I talked him right into that. Did you see how that worked, Wes?
Oh, I was picking Mississippi State long.
I put Jedi mind trick on CJ man.
I'm taking Mississippi State.
I've been watching too much Ahsoka. Shout out. All right, give me LSU at Mississippi State. I think the magical ride ends this weekend. All right. And we hate to do it. We're not fans of them, but here we go. South Carolina goes to Athens to play the Bulldogs. CJ, who you taking?
Give me the Dogs.
Oh, my God. He said it so confidently.
Give me the Dogs.
Wes, I know you're hyped for this one, man. You've been thinking about this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia. Psych. I've been saying all year before we started.
Not so fast, my friend.
man did a hat toss on us. He damn like he should have had hats ready for that.
Yeah, put it on and just throw it out.
That South Carolina was going to beat Georgia. I've said it. I'm still going to stick with it. South Carolina has some guys on offense that can make plays. I've not been impressed with Georgia. South Carolina plays well down there. The last time Georgia lost at home was to USC. So, and that was a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. But the last loss at home was to USC. I'm picking USC. They use this a rivalry game. South Carolina, Georgia. We're from the South. We know how that is. So, South Carolina upset Georgia. Crazy football season.
Let me say this. I think this is going to be a real entertaining 3:30 CBS game right here, man. Like this, I think this will be a fun game to watch. Whether you care for the two teams or not, obviously we don't.
Hate them.
But I will also mention that if I pick Georgia to lose to South Carolina, my wife will murder me, maybe on air. So I'm going to have to go ahead and pick UGA in a squeaker. I think there's going to be some points scored in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of sacks in this game. It's going to be interesting. It could be ugly. So give me UGA in an entertaining ball game. Hopefully it's the most entertaining ball game of the day because I hope that we blow the doors off of Tennessee and it's a stress-free night for the rest of us. We can only hope, guys. So that's it for the week, guys. CJ, you got anything to drop?
No, just thank you guys as always for supporting us as creators. Check us out on the Twitter. Check us out on the Facebook. A lot of things going on over there. Make sure you guys leave the score predictions as Hershad and then the bottom here in the comments what you think the score is going to be this weekend. If you maybe give us your take. What do you think that the Gators need to do to win this game? Some things we need to avoid. Just always be checking us out on the Twitter Friday. You know, we're going to have the updates on some of the high school kids that we're covering as much as we can find. Get you guys out there with some of those. So just keep up with us over there. You get a lot of good information on that. No, just again, though, thank you guys so much. You helped us grow so much. Doing great things. It's early here in football season. We're enjoying that. We're enjoying interacting with you guys. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely, we do. Send us home, Wes.
Yeah, don't forget to check out our sponsor. It'll be in the descriptions at the bottom. Check out our Sunday, our raw reaction to the game. That'll be early Sunday morning. So check that out as we give our reaction to the game. So don't forget to set your notification bell on so that when we drop that on YouTube, that you can see that Sunday morning. As the guys said, we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to get your Gator gear. Like I said, if you haven't got anything or you want something new, you may go to a game this year, want something fresh, check out Automata. The description will be in the YouTube link. You can click that and order what you need as far as Gator stuff. They do Gator stuff and all that stuff. So appreciate them. Shout out to them. Shout out to you all. And let's whip Tennessee ass this weekend. Go Gators.
I hate Tennessee. Go Gators.
Go Gators. Down with the orange. See y'all
Garbage
next
truck
week.
working convention. Puke inside of a pumpkin orange.
Go Gators, baby. See y'all next week.